Okay, I'd like to call the hearing to the budget hearing to order.
Should be louder. Yeah.
Go ahead, Ellen. Okay, I'd like to call the budget hearing to order. It says public participation. We'll start with that. So anyone who would like to speak, please raise your hand. I will acknowledge you. Give your name, address for the record, and you may speak. So anyone like to speak? You can do it from there. It's fine. Just speak loud enough for everybody to hear. That's all.
Heather Spencer, 60 Reggie Way.
Kate Carey Trell, EA Folkestone Road.
As you deliberate the FY25-26 town budget, I urge you to support the Board of Education's proposed budget of $29,079,000. 7,900,000, sorry. To refrain from making cuts that could compromise the future of East Windsor's children. The budget reflects both fiscal discipline and educational responsibility. The proposed increase is not excessive. It is carefully calculated response to rising fixed costs, mandated services, and the need to maintain safe, effective learning environments. Let's look at the growth trajectory over the past few years. FY 22-23, 25,725,000. 23-24, 26,496. 24-25, 7,344. The 25-26 proposed is 29,790,000. The average annual increase is 4.35% over the last 3 years, 3.15 over the last 2 years. This steady growth trend shows our continued commitment to fiscal restraint. Despite inflationary pressure and rising contractual obligations, especially in areas like healthcare and special education, we have consistently limited our requests to what is truly necessary to meet our core obligations and student needs. Many peer districts have seen steeper increases. East Windsor has taken a conservative, responsible approach that balances the delivery of quality education with taxpayer accountability.
What's driving the FY 25-26 increase? Contractual obligations. Salaries and benefits make up nearly 80% of our budget. Contracted raises and a projected 8.8% increase in health insurance premiums are major drivers. These are legal and contractual requirements, not discretionary spending. Special education costs. State and federally mandated services for special education continue to rise. These are legally required and must be met regardless of the district's financial position. Minimal discretionary spending. Only a small portion of the budget, less than 5%, covers essentials such as supplies, utilities, and transportation. Cutting here would directly harm classroom resources. No excessive staffing. The district has not added excessive staff. Changes in recent years Changes include cutting a few positions and maintaining and aligning with the enrollment trends and student support demands. In recent years, the Board of Education has consistently managed funds with care, leveraging grants, consolidating resources, and returning unused funds when possible. This isn't a bloated budget. It's a lean, student-centered financial plan. We need to protect what matters most. This is not the year to scale back education. With aging facilities, increasing student needs, and costs, this budget is the minimum needed to maintain the quality East Windsor families expect and deserve. Please continue to support the Board of Education's proposed budget in full. Let's continue the pattern of responsible growth and reaffirm our commitment to investing in the future, our children. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Finance members, town residents here, those online. My name is Ben Murphy, Deputy Chief of the East Windsor Police Department. Chief Carl can't be here tonight. He's away at training, and I'm going to be speaking on behalf of our agency. I'm going to let you know right out the gate, I don't have a prepared speech. I have receipts for some numbers, which I'm going to present to you guys shortly after. Couple things I want to prefix beforehand. I'm not up here speaking autonomously. I spoke with Chief Carl at length. We are lockstep with our opinion on where the budget's going, what we've presented, and what you're going to be looking at. So there's no editorialization. This isn't on my end. Second thing I really want to bring forward is the budget we've already submitted to you folks is well below the far as 2% benchmark. We failed twice. It's lean, it's needs-based, it's reasonable, and it's fair. Number three, the big point before I get to my talking, when you're in a leadership position, you're often going to be called, sometimes take a dissenting or a divergent opinion against people who might be aboard, your bosses or whatnot. I'm going to tell you, I have to advocate for my people. I have to advocate for our agency. I'm going to give you some really strong points as to why I strongly am against reducing anything to do with our budget. First and foremost, if you're aware or not, 80% of the patrol officers in the town of East Windsor have less than 5 years on the job, most of which have 3 years on the job. Low-hanging fruit for a police department across the United States is overtime and training. I am very proud to say, since I've come to this town, we're doing training quarterly. That means every 3 months, we're doing best practices for our officers, investigations, tactics, motor vehicle stops, updates on laws. I challenge any of you to find a police department in the region, let alone the state, that's doing that. I will spoil it for you. You're not going to. In November, we put together an emergency management drill that involved all town first responders, which was a major hit, and we're going to be doing it again. Continually, we're doing this training. That training offers the best training for our officers because we work in a fluid environment, not static. If we rely on taking back some of that money, you're going to get bottom of the barrel, basically what post mandates and updates on certifications. That will impact the services you're getting from the officers. Again, very young, inexperienced police department, and I see that as an absolute asset as an administrator, as a leader, because they're hungry to learn. They don't make mistakes. We give them the opportunities to build upon that with that training. So if we pull that back, it's going to have a major detriment. And what the other opposite of that as well is you're going to see morale drop. Now, again, you can say, well, that's just your point of view. Great. Well, unlike a lot of the nonsense we see online, I brought receipts. So we have a program called Power Engage. Every time we have an officer who goes out to take a call for service, they get a text message. Tell us how we're doing. For those of you who know anything about stats, I have a master's degree in counterterrorism. I do not have one in finance. But I will tell you, if you know basic anything about stats, we get about 50% of people getting back to us. Our current approval rating right now for the town of East Windsor Police Department is 97.65%, with over 52.1 for free respondents. Here are your numbers. I can print this out, I can send it to any of you. You can cut and paste it on Better East Windsor if you'd like. It's right there in black and white. The second thing I want to point out to you is the amount of work that the officers are doing. Before Chief Carl and I took over, from January through April in 2023, there were 606 motor vehicle stops. That is our primary concern in this problem in this town. Just this last January to April, and I had these numbers extrapolated by Lieutenant Lee this morning, 2,204. You do those numbers. They're out there working. Now, well, our citizen complaints up? 0 sustained citizen complaints. Use of force complaints. 0 sustained use of force complaints. I audit them myself. Why is that important? That goes back to training, that the training that the officers are getting. We have one of the best police departments in the state. Number two, why I don't want to see this budget drop. We started a CERT program. We started a cadet program. We are wrapping up our second Citizens Police Academy. We just designated a community service officer, and we are now running the Youth Service Bureau out of the police department, the only one in the state. We started a weightlifting program in the high school. We started a mentoring program in the high school. But at the end of the day, the officer's main jobs are patrol and detective work. If that gets taken back, those get taken back, and those are vital to our relationships with the community. Again, I challenge you, find a smaller agency, find a larger agency that's putting the work in that we're doing, and that's going to take a hit if that budget gets hit. Number three, and I'm going to be very correct on this, I want to be very specific rather, so this doesn't get misquoted, because I'm going to die on this hill. If there's ever a nuclear option of getting rid of an officer or not filling a spot, here's what's going to happen. That puts a detrimental impact on our police department for 5 years down the road. 5 plus 6 years ago was the last time we had a lateral officer, meaning an officer come to the town of East Windsor to work. In the last 18 months, we've had 4 officers. 4 officers in 18 months left their jobs, not retired, left their jobs in California, in Springfield, in Willimantic, and where they lived, Windsor, to come work for our town. You will never see that again if we were to get rid of an officer. And the other part of that, what's gonna happen is you're gonna see these young officers. Remember, we have a young police department. They are post-certified. They can take their certification and they can go somewhere else. They're gonna leave. I'm gonna give you a fun fact. I'm a third-generation police officer, raising a fourth, a son who's in college taking criminal justice classes, who wants to be a cop. Do you think I would direct him towards an agency that's laying people off? I would say run. We are making leaps and bounds from where we are, and this would have a detrimental impact to us, even the minimum. Again, we gave you well below the 2% benchmark already. Any further cuts is going to impact our training, our operations, our equipment, and that's going to impact services of the town. Welcome for comments in or outside of here. I say thank you for listening to me. I appreciate your time.
Anybody else like to speak?
Paul Anderson, 89 Main Street, Broadbrook. You guys probably only have another 20 years to listen to me, but give or take. But listen, we have an excellent budget. And those that are hoping for the fallback of that ridiculous 2% factor of a failed budget are very short-sighted and foolish. Our budgets right now, both of them, are at the point where the only increases that existed are outside services and contracted changes. Nobody increased their budget in this entire town. So it gets to be kind of a bunch of baloney. If we don't pass this budget the way it is right now, something has to be cut. And that means the things we can control, which are the services that we all use. What do you want to lose? You want to lose your trash pickup? That would be stupid. There's a lot of things here that you can't just make believe money and take it away and have a good day. It doesn't work that way. The cost of living has gone up. The cost of budgets has gone up. The cost to the taxpayers, the increase in the taxpayers is very small. It's the mill rate that controls it. Why does that work? We have a lot more commercial taxpayers in town this year than we had previous years, and they're still coming. The only way you can get people to come here and build commercially is when you have a town that operates properly. Right now, we're doing pretty darn well, and we're bringing people in. That means more commercial taxpayers. That means the burden on households goes down some more. My recommendation is put the same budget back up for the next referendum because there's nothing wrong with it. There were issues this year. There was an event at the school. People were coming from all over town to go to the Broadbrook School for whatever was going on and asking, where can I vote, being sent here, and they're driving around and around and around and can't park their car to even come in. And those that did, well, you can't vote here if you're in the wrong district. We lost a lot of votes. They'll go home and forget it. It's too much work. That was a poor coordinated effort between what was going on across the street. People who go to events at that school park here. I don't care what you want, unless you're policing it, you're stuck with it. They park wherever they can find an empty spot, which means other people can't park. This is a big issue. I think the turnout was low because we lost a lot of voters. So my thought is put the same budget back up. There's nothing wrong with it. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love 125 So I was at your last meeting. I made some comments, but I want to follow up with a couple things. First, I agree with Deputy Chief Murphy. The police department budget is very well done. It's well below any 2% increase, and it covers a lot of the changes that they made, and it needs to continue. And I also support what the Board of Ed folks said tonight. I'm really concerned about the Board of Ed budget. So I recommend you don't cut the Board of Education budget because we're gonna slide backwards if we do that. So I'm not recommending any change to the Board of Ed budget. On the town side, I'm not happy with the way it's been plugged up this year with $1 million of Pequot money and changing the revenue projections for revenue from past taxes, revenue from our investment. New revenue projections were used in addition to Pequot money to plug that budget up. And I'm not even targeting that because I don't think that we have, we don't have the time or the energy to do that, and it's going to affect the school budget. So I offered up the low hanging fruit. There's an additional $500,000 in the debt service line item that doesn't cover debt service. We went over that at nauseum in the Board of Selectmen meetings. They said that they want to have it for future debt service in case we get into new debt. This is not the time to be budgeting an extra $500,000 in the budget for future expenditures. You deal with them when the time comes. And that is going to be that's low hanging fruit. Also suggested 1% off the town budget, which is like, you have the number, it's like $170,000, $180,000. There's more than enough room in the town budget not to affect any programs, any salaries, any positions by cutting something like whatever the 1% is, $170,000, $180,000. So my suggestion was very minimal. Get rid of the 500,000. It shouldn't even be in there. I suggested 1% and leave the Board of Ed budget alone. If we go hard at the town budget, which if I was doing that, which I think we could, because I'm not really happy with the way it's done, I'm worried that it will come back and affect the Board of Education budget. And if you slash too much, then it will affect the Board of Education, the vote, and it's going to affect their budget. But if you don't put things in place on the town side, if you don't start addressing these extra expenditures, we're just on a slippery slope, and it's going to bite the schools. It's going to bite the town when the time comes. Once we lose the Pequot money, and now that these revenue projections have been modified, they can't be modified again. We're going to be looking at 5–10% increases over the next 2 or 3 budget cycles if we don't get any control of it. So you need to use some fiscal restraint. Anyway, those are my suggestions.
Thank you.
My name is Francis Neal. I live at 153 Melrose Road. I would ask that you do not touch the Board of Education budget as the court. I realize that you guys have the toughest job in town and I don't want it. But I also know the hard work that has gone into the budget and what that does for the kids in town and the opportunities that it gives them. And I would like for them, they shouldn't be penalized because the town is small. We're giving them more opportunities, not nearly as many opportunities as the South Windsor would have, but we're trying to give them at least something to help them go forward. To that end, I also have a statement here that I would like to read from our last year's valedictorian. Today, I am delivering remarks on behalf of Vincent Hernandez, who could not be here today while he prepares for finals. Hi, I am Vincent Hernandez, a freshman at Williams College. I graduated as valedictorian at East Windsor High School, class of 2024. In fact, I have been attending East Windsor's schools since kindergarten. East Windsor has made me the person I am today. I was afforded many opportunities during my time here, from band lessons starting in 4th grade and enrichment programs in middle school to earning college credits while in high school. It is these opportunities that are at stake today. The school won't close if the budget doesn't pass, but so many doors will close for students. Our students are passionate about learning and want to learn more, do more, be more. Our students want to succeed. They want to be proud that they grew up in East Windsor, but they can't do it alone. They need our schools to give them the opportunities to grow their passions and explore new avenues. They need the band programs to be able to repair and replace instruments. They need new career-oriented classes. They need updated sports equipment. They need the libraries to be stocked with new books. They need buses to take them to college tours and workplace visits. They need this budget to pass. There are 1,014 students currently attending East Windsor schools. That is 1,014 success stories waiting to be written, 1,014 futures that are at stake. Please pass this budget and give our students what they need to succeed. Thank you.
Lynn Stanley, 87 Rice Street. I'm here to demonstrate my support for the Board of Education. I served 2 terms for Board of Ed. And I think we need to protect school budget. I also do support police and fire departments here in town. I'm recommending that the Board of Finance reduce excessive spending and extra funds allocated to the town budget. The $500,000 for debt service and attorney fees requires careful examination. There are various ways to cut the town budget without affecting services. It is suggested that the Board of Finance consider requesting the Board of Selectmen to bid for a new town attorney. It is difficult to understand why everyone cannot support replacing the town attorney with a suitable firm that could save the town $150 or more an hour. It is standard practice for any well-run business or household to have the bid and professional services such as banking, internet, legal, insurance, to ensure that providers of these services remain competitive. It is outrageous to look at the comparisons between the surrounding towns for what we are paying for our town attorney. We're paying $365 an hour. East Granby pays $175 an hour, Ellington $210, Summers $200, Stafford $185, Suffield $135, and Thompson $185. This recommendation would result in financial savings without impacting on the town's services, including education. It appears to be a sensible decision. We must confront the town budget and leave the school budget alone. If you care about the school budget, stop the manipulations on the town budget side now. At the May 14, 2025 Board of Finance meeting, both Keith and Rand Stanley suggested budget cuts that wouldn't impact services. Why not use these suggestions? And I've listed them below. I emailed you guys a copy of this, and I have a copy if you want it. But I'm just saying, good schools attract families to town more than anything else and are good for economic development, not industrial solar. Board of Finance and the Board of Selectmen need to listen to the taxpayers. Thank you.
Anybody else?
My name is Alexandra Strahl. I live at 28A Folkestone Road, and I am a recent graduate of the University of Rhode Island. And I'm speaking on behalf of supporting the Board of Education budget. Through my time at East Windsor High School, I was able to take many AP classes to prepare for the amount of work and the level of difficulty in college. One class specifically that I took was AP Professional English. And in taking that class, I was able to pass the class, the exam, and get credit for writing 104 in college, which helped me out immensely. Also at the high school, I was able to take art, drawing, and photography, which helped me find my major in college of landscape architecture. It helps me gain work for my portfolio in order to get into college. I also took Spanish since 8th grade for 5 years, and that helps me in college too, because I was able to test into Spanish 205 and get college credit for it. Thank you for your time.
Anybody else?
My name is Betsy Lawrence. I live at 16 Church Street. Actually, I live in the house that my father built on my grandfather's farm. I would like to, I want to acknowledge Jason Bowser, the Board of Selectmen, Dr. Tudrin, and my fellow members of the Board of Education, also the Board of Finance, for their service and commitment to our community. I'm happy to live in a community that I know is safe, knowing that we have police and fire departments that respond to my needs professionally. I appreciate the soon to open community center that integrates social services programs for seniors and youth programs within a single facility. I think that's efficient. I love watching my grandchildren at the park and the splash pad and listening to music with neighbors at the reservoir. I value these opportunities and resources that bring our citizens together. I'm a retired educator and believe that our system and the support from the community speaks to the future of our children. We've made great strides in our school system through organizational management, policies, and direct instruction. I think that we've come to you several times. Elementary and middle school students are benefiting from research-based instruction in language arts, mathematics, and science. Solid data demonstrates gains in outcomes and performance. High school students are involved in innovative programs that prepare them to enter the workforce through career pathways, educator rising programs, and through college preparatory support and guidance. Our Board of Education and Administration are building a system that enhances the social, emotional, and wellness of our students and their achievement. I believe that we're a rising community that seeks to meet the challenges of the 21st century. I understand the difficult task that each and every one of you on the Board of Finance has before you. I respectfully urge you to put forward a budget that continues the progress that we've made as a community. Thank you.
Grant Stanley, 87 Rye Street. I spoke before you at the last meeting. I'd like to remind everybody in the room and this board tonight that the only tax stabilization agreement that the people, the citizens, and the taxpayers of this community have is the 2% budget cap after 3 votes have failed. It's not what I'm advocating for, but I strongly disagree with Mr. Anderson in putting forth a 5.56% budget increase, regardless of what the mill increase is. We have to do a better job with this. There is flood. Now, I'm not an expert, but I've been doing this 25 years in 3 different towns. I know how it works. When we see budget transfers this time of year for 100, 110, 50, 80, something's not right. And I don't think the right questions are being asked. What I'm saying is there are people in this town that every time somebody presents a budget that's just another cup of coffee, it's a cup of coffee that belongs to the person that's paying that bill, not to this room, not to this building, and not to the community at whole. Just please keep that in mind when you deliberate tonight. It's a tough job, but somewhere there has to be a line. And that line, unfortunately, for this board, for the Board of Selectmen, for the Board of Education, for the Police Department, for the Highway Department, for everybody, that line is 3 failed votes, and then it goes to 2%. Where are you? We're in a pickle. I think Keith's right. Next year, we're gonna be out of money. Pequot fund's gone. We don't know what we're gonna be getting for federal funds. The state budget, that's another issue that's gonna affect us. And we have to look forward. Not right now tonight. We have to look forward. And I urge you to take a strong, hard look tonight, please. Just do the right thing for everybody in the community, not just the people in this room that are speaking. Do the right thing for everybody, please. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Dr. Gabriella Rosso, 26 Perry Lane. Thank you all for your consideration. I know this is a very difficult decision that you all have to make tonight. I just wanted to speak because I am, for those of you that don't know me, I was the valedictorian of my graduating class from East Windsor High School in 2016. And I speak in my capacity not to bring attention to myself, but because I am very proud that I am a product of my community. I am a product of the community and home that we all share here. And I really think that it's important to continue to invest in our school systems and in our children. I know to an extent you all have some type of connection to the public schools here, whether you went through the schools yourself or whether you have a child in the school system or you know somebody who is in the school system or who's gone through it. I think it's so important for us to continue investing in our students. I heard the other day that it's been about 7 years since the budget has failed on the first round. And I can attest to the fact that I was one of those students who faced the effects of that when I was in high school. And it's disheartening being a student and knowing that your teachers are getting pulled out from under the rug. I was in classes where my teachers were getting pulled out and having conversations with administration. And before you know it, within a few weeks, those same teachers have new jobs in other school systems. I was in the school systems when our coaches were leaving to go to other towns, and you're left with half the staff that you have. I was through the school systems when, we're going to other towns and we have 2 people on a cross-country team from towns that we're competing against that have these mega teams and have all of the funding and resources to support them. Talking to students that I went to college with in neighboring towns that have 3 times the amount of AP and elective courses that we did when I was in the high school. And, I like to think that I am successful because of the support that I had in this school system. And, I think it's so imperative that we continue to invest in those students, because I am just one example of what a successful East Windsor student can look like. We come in many forms, and many of us are in this room, right? But we need to continue to invest in these students and show them the support that they deserve. All students support our funding, our support, whether that looks like, just funding these extracurricular programs, whether it's funding and supporting effective, diverse teachers in our school systems, whether it's, continuing to fund the benefits that these teachers earn, that they work hard for day in and day out, educating our students. I just think it's so important for us to continue to not lose sight of the value that our support offers these students, and they recognize it. They recognize that, when these institutions, when these systems that are set up in our town are pulling that from them. So I urge you to continue to support the education budget. I know, again, it's not an easy decision that you all are making. At the end of the day, I know we're all on the same team and we share this home. And we share all of the resources, whether that comes from the school system, whether that comes from the town side, public safety. I know it's a difficult decision to make, but I have full trust in the Board of Education that this budget was set up very intentionally, very strategically, and very responsibly. And I know that you all will make the right decision. And I thank you for the grace that you are all giving us today.
In the back.
Bob Light from 80 Bryce Street, Broadbrook Village of East Windsor. I want to speak to you as a former official of the town or a present official, like otherwise. I want to say that while I'm speaking to the Board of Finance and the Board of Selectmen about this particular budget, there was only 4 people that attended your previous meeting. And out of those, only 2 of them spoke. And I want to say for the record that I agree with exactly what Rand Stanley and Keith Yagloff said at your previous meeting, and I won't get into all the details about that. I'm glad to speak to a lot more than 4 people tonight, my fellow townspeople and taxpayers. I will speak in terms of being a former businessman. We always had a 3 to 5 year game plan for business. If we had to expand the business and go out buy trucks or hire additional people, we had to go to the bank and we had to have a 3 and 5 year game plan, a business plan, and we don't have that. And I don't know what to expect, who to expect it of, other than a combination of the Board of Finance, the Board of Selectmen, and the what's now called Director of Finance. We really need to have a budget that looks into the future. Now, going back to my days as a vice chair on the Economic Development Commission, I'm reminded year after year after year, I come to these meetings with the same thought. The only way we're going to balance the budget is real simple business. You're either going to cut costs, and the easiest way you can cut costs normally are by getting rid of people and benefits. And I'm echoing the other thoughts, that let's keep the Board of Education budget intact as far as cutting costs. As far as public safety, that's one of the biggest things that you've got to have to consider if you're going to try and entice businesses to come to this town. And I'm delighted to hear the presentation from the deputy chief tonight and the credentials to back it up in a business sense. Okay, I was just ironically in the vicinity of a big bust yesterday, which you guys did, and it was so professional. 5 squad cars and a canine person. And I can only guess what the bus was about. I'm not here. It was done so professionally and so well. And we didn't have that kind of a budget. We need more people like that I saw firsthand yesterday to do that. And we don't need to cut our expenses for public safety with the fire department, police department, if we're going to try to entice more business to come into town. Now, back to now we've not been able to cut costs part of my presentation. The one thing I'd like you to consider in this long-term game plan is something we've needed for a long, long time. And it's a professional, full-time developer, economic development person with some skin in the game that gets paid based on what they produce and by their ability to help and recruit, build team members on our Economic Development Commission that hasn't had a meeting with a, I think since I resigned, they haven't been able to have a quorum. And I heard one of the members speak the other night in one of the meetings. There's still vacancies for, I think, 3 people on the Economic Development Commission. Let's increase our revenues, increase our profitability, and cut our costs by going into, I don't know, I'm not an accountant, but additional appropriations, fund balance, and use of undesignated fund balance. What's a fund balance other than what we used to call it as a slush fund? You know, if you got it in there, let's use it. Let's invest it in the kind of people that can bring more business and revenues into our town. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, that will end the hearing portion of.
Mark Paradise, 96 East Road. I'm gonna echo also with Keith. I have to say, and having a mill rate increase. Got rebound, like rebound from the past, firstly, I know it's only been 5 years. Nevertheless, our taxes go up, inflation goes up. I can't go out and raise any more money. Being retired, a lot of people are retired, want a fixed income. I have to tighten my belt. And I want something new, I have to say no. I'll say this. I support our education budget. I think it was well crafted from what I understand. And I don't think this town supported education the way it should. A long time. We haven't put the money into where we need it. Was talking to Dr. Tudrin about the fact that finding teachers is harder and harder to get. You don't pass this budget for the Board of Education, they're gonna have to cut teachers. It's gonna mean larger classes. That's gonna affect morale. Teachers are gonna leave. I don't know if they're in COVID, I'm sure. I'm glad I didn't have to teach during that time. But no. Imagine teaching art over a computer for that long a time. You can't paint a picture with a paintbrush, water, paint, computer. Yeah, I was an art teacher for 38 years. Anyway. Dr. Goodman's right, I guess, can't get teachers, what are you gonna do? He was telling me you get one teacher looking to come to East Windsor, if you don't grab them up right away, they're gone, they're gonna go to another district. The district offers them an extra grand or two, what do you think they're gonna do? I would do. came here, met my wife here. Right there, across the street, Robert School, walked in there for a part-time art job. High scale Rebecca, she was on pregnancy leave, I walked in the door. Guess who introduced me? Mr. Bob Watts. My wife had just come back on vacation with her cousin Christy from Washington DC, where she swore off. She was not gonna date another guy. She was, Bob Watts introduced us. Well, it wasn't exactly love at first sight. There are a lot of single gals at that school. She played hard to get. And we wound up having lunch on that back step at that school many, many afternoons, playing softball with the kids. Yeah. We built the house on the farm here. I'll be damned if we're gonna sell that farm to solar. Here. Ain't no way. Yeah, we're attracting all kinds of business to this town. Maybe it's the wrong kind. How's the industrial park doing? Got any empty buildings there? I don't know, haven't been through there lately. It doesn't look very attractive to me. I go to a doctor's office down in Glastonbury. You should see the kind of office parks they got down there, man. Woo-hoo. Yeah, we're attracting a lot of businesses here. But the businesses we have, we should support. Yes, sir. We're struggling to stay afloat, just like every other town, every other family in this town. We want to raise taxes. Don't go to the police department. You gave a darn good presentation, sir. Congratulations. Notice the fire department budget passed without a problem. Gee, I wonder why. Because they gave a good budget and they didn't ask for too much. They didn't get everything they wanted, but you know what? You can't always get what you want. Sometimes you get what you need. Ever hear that line before? No, Mr. Anderson, I don't think they're gonna cut trash collection anytime soon. But I think you gotta be realistic. You're gonna raise people's taxes. And they're struggling as it is. I mean, not everybody in town is struggling. Some of us are. I set up my pension so that if I go first, my wife will be taken care of if I go. So we don't get as much as we would have. She only taught 14 years, so she's not getting too much. Oh yeah, we get by. Yeah, you think, okay, yeah, you live in a farm, you must be loaded. Yeah. Rent we get for renting for hay and feed corn. Got a little more than getting the taxes paid on that, which just went up. Surprisingly a lot. Really surprised. I'm not gonna sell the land to the solar company. We already got an offer. Yeah. No way. Tobacco farming? No way. Got an offer from them too. They put so much poison in the ground. Support the police, support the fire, support the Board of Ed. There's some fluff in this budget. Come on. I made an art budget for a year. Yeah, I know it's not all kinds of millions of dollars. And it always got cut by Phil Morton or whoever was principal at the time. I may do. You will too. Guess what? Your trash will still be collected every week. Yeah, it's inconvenient. We have to go and bring our own bulky waste twice a year. We handle it. Not South Windsor. We make do. I guess that's about all I have to say. Listen to me long enough. Thanks for your patience.
Anybody else?
My name is Dr. Mutzka, 12 Church Street, Broadmoor. proud graduate of East Windsor High School, class of 1968. Go Panthers. I had the opportunity to review both the town budget as well as the ed budget. And I think both of them have been crafted very well. I am in total support of them. Thank you.
Bill Lewis, 44 Melrose Road, Brockville. Resident of East Windsor for 89 years. Last year I paid $6,627 in tax. I retired at the age of 65 in 2000. I've been retired for 25 years. Every year my taxes go up. Seniors in this town cannot afford more taxes every year. It's just not there. They don't have any increase every year. They're working on an old budget that they had. My budget was 25 years ago. I can't afford more taxes every year. Board of Education should do away with the middle school. We never had a middle school when we had both the grammar school and the high school. We could save money in that education budget by doing away with that middle school. Put the 5th graders in our grammar school, 6th, 7th, and 8th in the high school. We used to have over 400 kids in high school. We have less than that now. We only graduate less than somewhere around 50 or 60 kids. We used to graduate over 100. I graduated from high school, both town of East Windsor and South Windsor, were 68 kids in our class for both towns. I know because I was class president. We cannot afford that extra building up there just sitting around that we don't need. We have a high school that's to accommodate the 5th, the 6th, 7th, and 8th grades. We have a grammar school to accommodate the 5th grade. Board of Education budget, 6.34% increase. That's way too high. Thank you.
Good. Anybody else? Okay, that'll end the budget hearing for tonight. We will